Losing someone you love, someone who has been there for you through everything, is never easy. It doesn't matter how much time passes or how much you try to convince yourself that life goes on. The pain of losing a best friend leaves a mark that time can't erase. But over time, I've learned that in the depths of grief, there is something to be gained, something that helps you understand who you really are and what truly matters. My name is Lucy, and this is my story about what I learned from losing my best friend. I remember the first time I met Mia. It was in sixth grade, and we were paired up for a science project. I was the shy, reserved girl who kept mostly to myself, and Mia was the complete opposite. She was outgoing, funny, and always seemed to know how to make people laugh. We hit it off immediately, and over time, our friendship blossomed. We spent hours talking about everything: school, family, dreams for the future, and even our silly little secrets that no one else knew. Mia was the person who understood me better than anyone else. She knew my fears, my hopes, and all the little quirks that made me who I was. For years, Mia and I were inseparable. We shared everything, from the mundane to the life-changing. When I went through tough times with my family, she was there, offering comfort and understanding. When I was overwhelmed by school or my own insecurities, Mia was the one who reminded me of my worth. We had a bond that felt unbreakable. I genuinely believed that nothing could ever come between us. But, as life often shows us, things don't always stay the same. It was the summer before our senior year of high school when everything changed. Mia had started acting differently. She wasn't herself anymore. She was distant, distracted, and seemed to be pulling away from everyone, including me. At first, I thought it was just a phase. I thought maybe she was stressed about school or worried about the future, just like the rest of us. But as the weeks passed, I started to realize that there was something deeper going on. I remember one afternoon when we were sitting together in the park, just like we used to. We had spent so many hours in that exact spot, talking about life and all our big plans. But that day, there was a heaviness in the air. Mia was quiet, her usual laughter missing. I could feel that something was wrong. "Mia," I asked gently, "is everything okay?" She looked at me, her eyes filled with a mix of sadness and uncertainty. "I don't know, Lucy. I don't know who I am anymore." I didn't understand what she meant at the time, but I could tell that something was weighing heavily on her. I tried to push for more answers, but she brushed me off, telling me that she just needed time. I didn't want to press her, so I let it go, hoping that whatever it was, she would eventually open up to me. But she never did. As the summer wore on, Mia's behavior continued to spiral. She started skipping our usual hangouts, stopped answering my texts, and barely showed up to school. I tried reaching out to her, asking if she wanted to talk, but she kept shutting me out. I felt helpless. I didn't know what was happening, but I could feel our friendship slipping away, and it terrified me. Then, one afternoon, Mia disappeared. It wasn't like her to just vanish without a word, and when I couldn't get in touch with her, I started to panic. I tried calling, texting, even going to her house, but no one knew where she was. Her parents were worried too. Days turned into weeks, and I could feel the weight of the unknown crushing me. It wasn't until a few weeks later that I found out where Mia had gone. She had left town, leaving behind a note for her parents. It turned out that Mia had been struggling with something much deeper than I had ever realized. She had been dealing with depression for years, silently fighting a battle that no one, not even me, had known about. She had felt lost, like she was drowning in her own mind, and she felt like no one could understand her pain. Mia had decided that she needed to be away from everything and everyone, to find some kind of peace, even if it meant cutting ties with her old life. I remember feeling a mix of emotions, shock, confusion, and above all, guilt. How could I not have seen the signs? How could I have been so caught up in my own world that I didn't notice my best friend was struggling? How could I have not known that the person I loved more than anyone else was quietly falling apart? Days and weeks that followed were some of the hardest of my life. Mia was gone, and I didn't know if she would ever come back. I spent countless hours wondering what I could have done differently, blaming myself for not being there for her when she needed me most. I knew that I had failed her in some way, even though deep down I understood that her struggles weren't my fault. But that didn't make the pain any easier, and there was still no sign of Mia. I tried to move on with my life, but every time I thought about her, I felt a pang of sadness and regret. I didn't know if she would ever come back, and I didn't know how I could ever heal from losing her. Then one day I received a letter from Mia. It was addressed to me, and it was the first time I had heard from her in months. I remember holding the letter in my hands, feeling a mix of excitement and fear. What could she possibly say? What had she been through? In the letter, Mia explained everything. She told me about the darkness she had been living with for so long, about the struggles she had kept hidden from everyone. She apologized for leaving without warning, for shutting me out, and for causing so much pain. But she also thanked me. She thanked me for being her friend, for all the memories we had shared, and for loving her even when she couldn't love herself. Reading those words, I finally understood. Mia hadn't left because of me. She hadn't left because she didn't care. She had left because she needed to find herself again, to heal, to figure out who she was outside of the person she had become. And in the end, I realized that Mia's journey wasn't about me. It was about her. It was about finding peace and understanding in her own life. After reading the letter, I felt a sense of relief. I had been carrying around so much guilt, so many unanswered questions, and finally I had some closure. But it wasn't just closure that I found. It was also something more. I learned that sometimes even the strongest relationships can be tested by things beyond our control. I learned that people change, they grow, and sometimes they need space to figure things out on their own. I learned that love doesn't always look the way we expect it to, and that sometimes love means letting go, even when it hurts. Mia's journey wasn't over. In her letter, she told me that she was getting the help she needed and taking steps toward healing. It wasn't easy, and it wouldn't happen overnight, but she was determined to fight. And for the first time in a long time, I felt a sense of hope for her. I knew that no matter where life took us, Mia would always be a part of my heart. But I also realized that I couldn't just sit around waiting for her to come back. I needed to heal too. I needed to find my own way forward, to learn how to live without her by my side every day. Losing Mia taught me so much about myself, about my own strength, my own capacity for growth. It taught me that it's okay to be lost sometimes. and that even in the darkest moments, there is always something to learn, something to gain. I've learned that friendship isn't just about the good times. It's about being there for each other, even when the road gets tough. It's about knowing that people change, they grow, and sometimes they need space to figure things out. I've learned that the love we share with others doesn't disappear just because we're apart. It stays with us, shaping us, guiding us even when we're miles apart. Mia may not be in my life in the same way she once was, but I'll always carry the lessons she taught me. And maybe, just maybe, that's the greatest gift of all.